Man, let me tell you about this one crazy road rage incident that went down one night. It was like something out of an action movie, except it was happening right in front of my eyes. Two semi-truckers, locked in a battle fueled by anger and adrenaline, tearing up the highway. I was just cruising down the road, minding my own business when I saw them up ahead. These two big rigs, honking their horns and swerving in and out of lanes like madmen. It was clear from the get-go that something had gone seriously wrong between them. As I inched closer, I could see the fury etched on their faces. The first trucker, a burly dude with tattoos and a trucker hat, was leaning out of his window, shouting and waving his arms like a wild man. The second trucker, no less intimidating, responded with equal force, his voice booming through the night. Their heated exchange quickly escalated into a full-blown chase. The trucks thundered down the highway, weaving dangerously through traffic. It was like a high-stakes game of cat and mouse, with each driver determined to one-up the other. The tension was palpable, man. Horns blared, tires screeched, and innocent drivers were forced to slam on their brakes to avoid getting caught in the crossfire. People were yelling and swearing, their voices blending with the roar of the engines. I gripped my steering wheel and kept my eyes glued to the spectacle in front of me. I couldn't tear my gaze away, even though the rational part of my brain was screaming at me to get the hell out of there. It was like a car crash. I couldn't look away, even though I knew it was dangerous. The road rage war went on for a very long time. These truckers cut each other off, forcing the other to swerve or slam on the brakes. It was a reckless display of aggression, a battle for dominance on the highway. But just when I thought things couldn't get any crazier, fate intervened. The two trucks, barreling down the highway at breakneck speed, collided with a thunderous impact. Metal twisted and shattered, sending debris flying across the road. It was a sickening sound, one that made my stomach churn. For a moment, the world went silent. Smoke billowed from the wreckage as the two truckers emerged, dazed and disoriented. It was a sobering sight, a reminder of the consequences of their rage-fueled actions. The adrenaline that had propelled them turned into shock and regret. Emergency services arrived, sirens blaring, and took control of the situation. It was a scene of chaos and destruction, a stark reminder of the dangers of road rage. As I drove away, the image of those mangled trucks stuck with me. It was a haunting reminder that anger, when unleashed on the road, can have devastating consequences. That road rage incident was like a wake-up call, man. It made me realize that we gotta keep our cool on the road, no matter how angry or frustrated we might get. 'Cause at the end of the day, it's not worth risking lives for a moment of blind rage.
Being a trucker can be a lonely gig, especially on those long, dark nights when you find yourself parked in the middle of nowhere. I had my fair share of eerie encounters on the road, but one particular incident took the cake. It was a night like any other, surrounded by endless cornfields in a rural area, with nothing but the occasional passing truck for company. I had just parked my rig for the night, ready to catch some shut-eye. As I settled into my bunk, I glanced out the windshield to take in the stillness of the night. That's when I noticed her, a woman standing just a short distance away, illuminated by the headlights of a passing truck. It was a strange sight, considering the desolate surroundings. Curiosity got the better of me, and I watched her intently, trying to make sense of her presence. Where had she come from? What was she doing out here in the middle of nowhere? The questions swirled in my mind as I watched her. But just as I was about to open my door and approach her, another truck came barreling down the road. I glanced back at the woman, and shockingly, she had vanished into thin air. It happened in an instant, as if she had never been there at all. My heart raced, and a chill ran down my spine. I couldn't wrap my head around what I had just witnessed. To be perfectly honest, I was shook and beginning to question my own sanity. I had seen strange things on the road, but this felt different. Something about that woman's sudden disappearance left me with an eerie feeling in the pit of my stomach. Without wasting another second, I fired up the engine and got the heck out of there. I drove until I found a more populated area, somewhere with the comfort of streetlights and the bustle of other vehicles. I needed that sense of security, that reminder that I was not alone. Finally, I parked my rig and settled in, but the unsettling encounter was still fresh in my mind. As I lay in my bunk, I fought to fall asleep. Memories of that mysterious woman haunted my thoughts, her presence lingering like a ghostly whisper. What was her story? Was she a lost soul, a figment of my imagination, or something far stranger? The incident changed me, man. It made me more cautious on the road, more aware of the eerie forces that can lurk in the darkest corners of the night. I started sharing my story with other truckers, swapping tales of the unexplained. Turns out, I wasn't the only one who had encountered the strange woman in the same exact area. To this day, the memory of that woman and her sudden disappearance lingers within me. I may never know the truth behind that incident. So, if you're ever driving down a desolate stretch of highway, keep your eyes peeled and your wits about you. You never know what you might encounter in the darkness.
Man, let me tell you a story about one night that I'll never forget. I am a tow truck driver, and that night I had to go to an inner city neighborhood to repossess a car. Little did I know, that simple job would turn into a crazy situation with a street gang that I would never want to relive. It was past midnight when I parked my tow truck on the dimly lit street. The neighborhood had a reputation for being rough, but I had been to plenty of places like this before. I brushed off any concerns and focused on the task at hand. As I walked towards the car I was supposed to repossess, I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and a sense of unease settled over me. I quickened my pace, wanting to finish the job and get out of there as soon as possible. But just as I reached the car, a group of men came from the back of one of the buildings. They were dressed in baggy clothes, tattoos covering their arms, and an aura of danger surrounding them. It was clear they weren't happy to see me messing with the car they considered theirs. One of them stepped forward, with anger written all over his face. He pulled out a switchblade and pointed it at me, his voice dripping with venom. "You better step the hell back if you know what's good for you," he threatened. I was very concerned about what he would do next, but I managed to keep my composure. I slowly backed away and raised my hands to show I meant no harm. Deep down, though, I knew I had to act fast if I wanted to get out of there in one piece. With adrenaline pumping through my veins, I fumbled for my phone and dialed 911. I explained the situation to the operator, desperately hoping they would send help my way. Time felt like it was moving in slow motion as I awaited their response. As I waited, the tension grew thicker. The gang members closed in on me, they got angrier. I knew that if help didn't arrive soon, I would be in serious trouble. And then, like a guardian angel, the sound of sirens pierced the night. I let out a sigh of relief as the red and blue lights illuminated the street. The gang members faltered, their bravado diminishing as they realized they were outnumbered. The police officer, with a calm but authoritative voice, ordered the gang members to drop their weapons and step back. Slowly, they complied, the fear of getting caught outweighing their desire to cause harm. The officer assessed the situation, ensuring that everyone was safe. He then turned his attention to me, offering reassurance and asking me questions about what had happened. As the gang members were put under arrest, I thanked the officer for his help. He shrugged it off, saying it was all part of the job. But for me, it meant everything. I quickly hooked the car onto my flatbed truck and got out of there as quickly as I could. After this incident, I made the decision, despite my religion being against it, to become a licensed firearm holder, and I can honestly say that having a firearm has saved me a couple of times since this incident. Stay safe everyone and stay spooked.